Hey there, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. Today I want to wrap up the month of November where I'll show you the books that I finished in the later part of November because I already did a recent reads video kind of mid-month, and I'm going to link that video up in the cards above so you can check it out if you want to. And I think I finished back then about 10 books, and by the end of the month I finished another 9, so in total I wrapped up 19 books for this month, which is really good. And the 9 books that I finished, or let me just go back. So the first part of the month I was kind of not really in a slump, but in kind of a situation where I was picking up books that I didn't fully enjoy. So I was kind of bummed that I was not picking up the books that I was in the mood for. So I'm really happy to say that I kind of got out of that funk and picked up some amazing, splendid books by the end of the month. So I have to say that this month was really successful for me because I had quite a few 5-star reads that I can share with you in this video as well. I really cannot wait to talk about some of these books. They were just so splendid and wonderful, and I can't wait to tell you more about them. So if you haven't read them, you can go ahead and pick them up yourselves. I'm going to start off with the books that I didn't enjoy as much, and I'm going to try to not focus too much on them so we don't lose too much time on those. And then I'm going to try to focus all my energy on the ones that I absolutely loved. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the books that I finished this month. First book I'm going to talk about is 40 Love by Olivia Dade. I have to say that I've had this book on my radar for quite some time because it involves a reverse age gap situation where the woman is the older person and then we have the man who is quite a bit younger than herself. So I was really curious to see whether I would love it as much as other books that I've picked up with this subgenre. And unfortunately, it was not the best book that I have read with this trope within it. I really had high hopes, but for some reason, I don't know whether it was the fact that it's a holiday romance. So basically, the main heroine, Tess, she is a teacher and she only has opportunity to go to this expensive non-refundable holiday once a year with her best friend. She goes to this tropical place, I don't remember where it is, and basically she has 2 weeks there. And I don't know whether it's the case that because it's only 2 weeks that they spend together, that is something that really bothered me, or the fact that I don't know, it got really serious very quickly between these two, and really they were struggling to grasp how they would work the situation between themselves out when they already had feelings for each other so quickly. So I think that that's something that just doesn't work for me as a reader. I'm not sure whether it's a problem for other readers, but it's just not my favorite thing. So yeah, like I mentioned, basically at the beginning we have a premise where it sounds like it's going to be fun. Tess is going on this holiday, she's at the beach, she goes into the water and a wave surprises her and kind of pulls off her bikini top. So she's looking for someone to help her get out of the water before she flashes anyone, basically, before she exposes herself in front of families with children. And in comes Lucas, the hero in this story, who helps her out, and they have this fun banter with each other. And in the progression of the story, we find out that he's a tennis instructor at this resort, and she has signed up for his lessons without knowing that he is the instructor there. So they have a forced proximity situation because they spend a lot of time together because of those lessons. So there, like, the recipe for a good story is there, but I just did not love it as much as I had hoped. Do not ask me why I picked up the next book. I have a reason for it, but it's not a very good reason. I'm going to explain it further on in another video. I picked up a book called Zane by Brenda Jackson, and it's part of a very long ass series. It's like the 25th book within a series that I don't know whether it's kind of interconnected with each other. I do know that probably a lot of the characters that are in this book have been discussed in other books as well, but you can definitely read this as a standalone, because I read it as a standalone and I did follow through with the story. It's just that I was not connected to any of the characters that are probably mentioned in the other books, so that maybe has impacted my opinion on the book. But I have to say that I just didn't vibe well with this book. It was very much, I don't know whether, if I'm not mistaken, this book was written quite a while ago, maybe about 10 years ago. And at that time, really the alpha hero, the asshole hero, was very popular. And Zane is very much a commitment phobe, someone who, I don't know how to explain him well without doing him a very big disservice, but he's the kind of guy who wants to be in a comfortable situation where he is with a woman, to enjoy the benefits of being with a woman, but then not having to put in the work into a relationship, which just sounds crappy to me, however I try to explain it. But that is the type of guy that he is. He had a very good thing going with the heroine, Channing. They were together for about like 9 months or a year. And then when she wanted more out of the relationship and she started to hint at that, he kind of ruined the whole relationship, because he was like, yeah, I didn't sign up for this and I told you where I was standing, so we're not gonna do anything serious. And they broke up. And then fast forward a couple of years, I think, Channing comes back to their hometown because she has left in the meantime, for the wedding of, I believe, Zane's little sister or cousin, someone from his family. And she comes back with a fake fiance because she doesn't want to show her face in a place where she left what she believes is the love of her life. And then just come without a date. So she has someone with her who is not her actual fiance, but she presents him as her fiance to possibly make him jealous or something. So it's a second chance story between Channing and Zane, and I really just did not love this. So I think that maybe it just is the type of story that maybe worked 10 years ago and then now just doesn't stand the test of time, I think. So yeah, I think that at least for me, that's it. It just wasn't a very good story for a contemporary situation. So yeah, it's just not my thing. I gave it 3 stars, but I definitely will not pick up any other books within this series. Next up, I picked up a book that is not very typical of me. It's not a romance book, it's a novella, and it's a science fiction novella. It's one that I've seen going around maybe a year and a half ago on many booktube channels that I follow, as a fun novella, something that you can just quickly wrap up and have fun with it. And then I don't know how I just came across on Storytel that I have it as an audiobook, and I was like, okay, let's just try something different, because I've been reading a lot of romances back to back and I just want to shake things up. So I picked up All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This book is just very weird, but weird in a good way, because you're kind of thrown into a world where everything is already happening without you getting very much explanation what is happening. So you're kind of in the action from the start, which for myself, sometimes that can get confusing, but I kind of moved past that. And once I did, I really had a lot of fun with the story, because it's just a very weird, kind of ironically sarcastic situation where we have this half robot, half human who is hired to be the security of this scientific team of humans who is on this planet to kind of do some kind of research about that planet. But he's just genuinely not a very big fan of humans, and he has a very difficult time of hiding that. So he comes kind of into different situations where just everything is very awkward between him and those humans. And He calls himself Murderbot, which is also just absolutely hilarious. And yeah, it was just a very quick, fun, engaging, also action-filled story that kind of left me wanting more. I think that this is the first out of a couple of books within a series with novellas by Martha Wells, and I may possibly pick up the next one to see if I'm going to like it as much as this one. Next up, I'm going to talk about the second book within the Lovelight Farms series by B.K. Borison. It's called In the Weeds. I read Lovelight Farms a month ago and I really liked it. I really liked it. And I knew that I would continue on with the series because I already kind of got invested in what will happen with the characters in the second book, because we got a hint of what happened between them, and that it's hinting towards more. So let me tell you what that was. In the first book, we find out that Beckett, who is part of this Christmas tree farm that Stella is running. Stella is from the first book. He is kind of the engineer and the kind of go-to guy for everything that happens within the farm. He is like doing all the crops and just managing the physical part within the farm. And we find out that he has some kind of a history with this famous influencer who came to the farm for a competition that she was organizing. It turned out that they had a one-night stand during some kind of a convention that they both ended up in. And both of them had a lot of fun during their encounter there, but the night ended awkwardly for both of them. So now that they see each other on a completely different occasion where it's work related, it's kind of bringing back the awkward, but also bringing back all of the memories of how much fun they had together and how suitable they are for each other. So yeah, basically Beckett is also this kind of hero who is not dealing well with social pressures. He prefers to be on his own. He doesn't want to be in a crowd. He's kind of grumpy a lot, while Evie, who is this influencer that I was talking about, she is very ambitious in her profession, but she's kind of burnt out and she's wanting to do something else possibly. She's kind of trying to figure out what she needs to do with herself, and she's trying to find her happy, as she says, or actually as Beckett says in the story. So we have a situation where she prefers to stay at Lovelight Farms just for a bit longer than she had planned for, because she wants to kind of calm down, get away from the social media life and figure out what she wants to do. He offers her a place to stay, so they have a forced proximity. And it's just a very cute and very endearing story. Kind of a second chance, although they just had a one-night stand at the beginning. Not really a relationship, but still kind of a second chance at a romance within the story. And I really liked it as well. I gave the first one 4 stars and I'm giving this one 4 stars as well. And I will be reading the third book within the series hopefully soon. So now that we've moved past the 3 and 4 star reads that I finished at the end of this month, we're going to talk about all of the 5-star reads that I finished. There's a couple of them and I really can't wait to share with you how much I love these books. The first one is Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. I've mentioned this book a couple of times already in previous videos, that I'm really anticipating reading this book because I really loved Legendborn, which is the first book within the series. And I don't know how much I can say about Bloodmarked in terms of the plot, because it continues the story of Bree from the first book, and I just don't want to share any spoilers on how book 1 ends. I can only tell you that we're immersed into the story with all the characters that we have seen in the first book, and it is a very well paced, very well developed, and very well thought out of magical story that still refers to a historical setting. So we're following the Arthurian tale. And while I did find it a bit more tricky this time around to follow through with what is going on, possibly because I didn't do a reread of Legendborn, I still really enjoyed it. This was such a fun read for me, and there's going to be a third book, so I'm definitely going to continue on with the series, but possibly next time I may need to do like a full back-to-back read of all of the books so that it is easier for me to follow what is going on. But still, this is a definite 5-star read for me. The next book really took me by surprise. I heard about it, I think, only on Rachel Reason Sings channel. I haven't come across this book anywhere else, to be honest. And when I heard her talking about this book, that it's really a wholesome story and one that still offers quite a bit of humor in it, and it's a male-male romance, by the way, and it kind of intrigued me when she talked about it, that it was such a gem of a book. So when I saw that I have it on audio on Storytel, I definitely decided for myself that I wanted to pick it up as soon as possible, and I'm so happy that I did. The book is by N.R. Walker and it's called The Weight of It All. And I have to say that I don't know how to describe it, like the most real, but also the most fun and the most really wholesome, like heartwarming type of a story. We're following Henry, who got dumped by his long-term boyfriend because of the way that he looks. He has gained weight, and they had lived a type of life that is kind of very stuck in a routine. So it was kind of a wake-up call for him that he needs to do something about his life, and he decided to join a gym. That is where he hired a personal trainer. His name is Reed. He is the main interest, the love interest within the book. And they're really completely different from each other. So we have Henry, who is overweight, has self-image issues, and is not confident in how he looks, and what has happened has contributed to his self-esteem issues. While Reed is this personal trainer who looks amazing. He has a personality of gold, kind of a golden personality, and he is just such a nice guy, and he appreciates Henry's sense of humor, and kind of a he has a lot of self-irony that he uses, and a lot of humor that he uses to kind of relieve awkward situations. So it's just an amazing story. I recommend it with both hands. If you haven't picked anything up by this author, I mean, this is the only book that I've picked up, but I have a lot of their works on audio, and I'm going to be picking up other books by this author as well. I just really recommend this one with both hands. It's an amazing story. So in my video where I discussed the 10 books that I definitely want to get to by the end of the year, I told you that I definitely want to pick up Flawless, at least Flawless or Flawless and Heartless by Elsie Silver, because I've heard nothing but good things about those books. Everyone on Booktube has been raving about Elsie Silver in the past 3 or 4 months. I'm not sure whether it started that way, but I think that Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl was the first who kind of shouted out that this is an amazing author and everyone needs to pick up their works. It may have been, I think it was Cheyenne, it may have been Sam. I don't know who it was that I first saw talking about these books, but now that they have kind of spread the word, everyone is reading Elsie Silver. And just out of curiosity, I just checked Goodreads, and Heartless actually has a 4.48 rating out of like 15,000 ratings, which is just amazing, an amazing accomplishment. So yeah, it was definitely worth it. I have to tell you that both of the books were absolute 5-star reads for me. I don't know which one of the two is my favorite, possibly Heartless, because it was a bit more emotional than Flawless for me. And maybe because it involves a single dad situation also, I don't know. But let me just start with the first one. Flawless follows Red, who is a bull rider. He's a cowboy. And he is one of the best ones in the circuit. And he gets into trouble with his sponsors and his fans because he gets caught on camera, I think, saying that he doesn't like milk, while one of his biggest sponsors is a milk company. So, kind of to clear up his reputation and his image, he gets thrown into a situation where Summer, which is the love interest in the story, she is going to be his assistant, or his nanny as they call it. She's also the daughter of his agent, so it's kind of a difficult situation for him to navigate because he doesn't want to screw up his relationship with his agent, but at the same time, Summer is actually a firecracker, and she does not, she can definitely hold her own. So he's very aggravated by her at the start of the book, so they have a lot of fun banter with each other. So this book, I think, you know how in some stories, some love stories, you have a situation where you love one of the characters more than the other, or you kind of love the situation that they're in, so you're interested in finding out what the plot is going to be, or maybe the tropes that are used in a very nice way, or it's written well. So there's some factors that work for you, but there's always something that is not the best, you know. So if you love one of the characters more, you're not gonna enjoy the second one as much as the first one. If you're following the plot more, then something with the characters is lacking. Let me tell you that Elsie Silver has gotten everything right. There is not one thing that did not work for me in this story. I was engaged 100% of the time with this story, and the characters were so likable to me, both of them. I was rooting for both of them, and I was like, yes girl, you tell him how it is, and yes dude, you're an amazing type of guy. And I was just surprised that there was absolutely nothing, really nothing that I can say that did not work for me within this story. And when I finished it, I was like, I'm not sure that the second one can be better than this one. And the second one, Heartless, I think is better than the first one, which just blew my mind. Red has two other brothers and one sister, and the second book is about his oldest brother, Cade, who is a single dad, and he has to run the ranch. He has taken that responsibility from his dad because his dad at some point is retired. And he feels a lot of pressure because he has a lot to do on the ranch, but he has a son, so he needs someone who can be a reliable person to spend the summer with his son. He's looking for a nanny, essentially. So yeah, he has been interviewing a lot of people, but he has very high criteria for the nanny, and he cannot find a person to look after his son, especially because a lot of the candidates that come in are more interested in him and not in his child. So yeah, in comes Willa. Willa is Summer's best friend, so Summer from the first book. And she is a wild child. She's an absolute free spirit. She is such a sunshiny type of character, while Kate is very much a grump. And they start off with having a very interesting meet cute in this small town. By the way, both of the books are small town romances. So in the small town, they have a very interesting meet cute that involves her panties. I'm not gonna say more. And then yeah, after this very interesting, weird, cute, meet cute, Summer offers Willa as a candidate for the job of nanny, and Kate is like, no way, after what went on in the cafe at the small town, there's no chance that I'm leaving my child with this woman. But then he sees her interacting with his son, and he's immediately sold. And that just did it for me. I mean, the fact that both of them are so amazing with the child involved, and also how she's a firecracker as well. She does not take any of Kate's jabs and shit, and anything that he shovels at her, she just brings it back to him. And it was so heartwarming to see what her issues were, because even though it seems like she has it all in her life because she's from a well-off family and she can do whatever she wants, it looks like, she still has issues of her own, issues that involve how she feels about her future. And Cade is just an amazing guy. And oh, I forgot to say, in both of the books, the spicy scenes are just so amazingly well done. These books are so steamy, but steamy in the best possible way, where you don't feel like it's excessive, or that even though it may happen on more occasions than one, it's absolutely validated that they're there. It makes you feel even more connected to the characters. And I'm just spending so much time talking about these two books, but I cannot gush about them enough. If I have to be honest, those are really two books that have taken me by surprise. Even though I've seen all of the hype, I did not expect that I would love them as much as I did. So I definitely recommend them. If you can get your hands on them, please do, because they're definitely worth it. Now that I've spent quite a few minutes talking about these two books that I've been gushing about, I'm going to gush some more because I picked up a book by an author that I've been loving for 2 years now. I've tried to pick up a couple of their works to see whether I'm loving everything that I'm picking up by them, and I definitely am. And I'm not sure which one is my favorite up to now, but the one that I just finished is definitely up there. So let me tell you that this is Taylor Jenkins Reid's Carrie Soto is Back. I've been looking forward to this book because when I found out that the premise of the book involves a tennis player, I was immediately sold, because I have to tell you that already when I was quite young in the 90s, I was very intrigued by tennis players. I knew who Steffi Graf was. I knew who Monica Seles was. I was very much into just seeing those amazingly graceful creatures have such a physical ability, but also have such a strategic mind as to know where to hit, how to hit, so that they can get to an advantage within a match. I was immediately sold in both men and women's tennis. I was very interested, and until today, I'm still following, for most part, the Grand Slams that are being shown. And when I found out that Taylor Jenkins Reid, one of my favorite authors now, has written a book that involves a tennis player, I knew I was going to love it. I was kind of worried a little bit that I may not love it as much as her previous works, because Malibu Rising was not my favorite. I did like it, but it was not my favorite. But still, by the way, can we take the time to just take a look at my bookmark here? Isn't it the cutest little thing that you have seen? It was a gift by a friend of mine. So just to get back to the book, I was so impressed by this book. It involves not only this tennis player's ambition and way of going about tennis, but really her relationship with her father, who is the person who kind of pushed her into tennis already from a very young age, and how ambitious she is and how much drive she has within her career. We find out at the beginning of the story that she wants to be the best, so she's kind of pushing herself to the max to get to this place where she is the best. But then the question becomes, what determines what the best means? Who is the best tennis player of the world? The person who has the most Grand Slams, or the person who has been number one for the longest, or the person who has broken specific records. What is the best? So she's struggling with that within her career. And then at some point she retires, and fast forward maybe 10 years, she finds out that all of the records that she has set are going to be broken by this new player. And she decides to come back out of retirement to reclaim her titles. This book is just simply amazing. I mean, it's written for really for readers like me. I fully appreciate that not everyone is going to love this book because the main character is not very likable, but she kind of grew on me specifically because of the relationship that she has with her father. Her father is possibly my most favorite male character that I've read about in a very long time. And I have to say that also the fact that we're viewing tennis as this beautiful, graceful game, and the strategy behind it, the thought that goes into it, and really the beauty of it is just so beautifully written within this book by the author. We also have a love story that develops within the story. We have a beautiful rivalry between Carrie and Nikki Chan, who is her rival, who has broken her record. And it's just an amazing feat. I was really on the edge of my seat, almost like in the tennis boxes, holding her dad's hand and kind of rooting for her in specific cases. And it was just amazing. I cannot say enough about this book. This is definitely going to end up in my favorites of the year, and I cannot wait to pick up the other books by this author that I haven't read yet. I have like 3 or 4 more to read, and yeah, I do think that this is going to end up in my favorites. Like Daisy Jones and the Six and this one are possibly equal, like tied on the top spot. But yeah, I really, really love this one. I think I've talked enough. I've talked enough for maybe 2 videos ahead. But anyway, I just wanted to share with you my enthusiasm for all of the books that I read at the end of November, because they were just splendid, amazing, wonderful, absolutely stunning books. And I recommend all of the 5-star reads that I finished, that I just talked about. And yeah, I just cannot wait to see what December will bring, where I'll have the same success as I had in the previous month. And please share with me your opinions on any of the books that you've seen me discuss if you've read them. If you haven't read them, please pick them up and let me know what you thought about them as well. Also, let me know if you have other 5-star recommendations for me. I would definitely like to pick up some more interesting, amazing, engaging books. And I hope to see you very soon in the next one. Please subscribe to my channel and have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care and bye-bye.